Okay, I think we are live. Good afternoon, friends. First of all, it's a great pleasure to be here. And I wish it was the times were different and this meet would have been a physical one and I could see all of you in person. But as things are, we'll have to do it this way. And this is also sort of a first here at this conclave. So yeah, so I'll just take a minute to get hang of the things, and then we'll go on. Okay, I see some of you have joined here, so I'll be also looking at the comments that you'll be putting it on the comment box, and as we move forward. Uh, the topic that the Unacademy team decided for me was dreaming big. Uh, there are some slides also, some pointers I tried to put, but I would want don't take all those pointers too much to the heart. I have just taken out time and tried to say what all can fit in here. Before going further, I think it's very important to understand a question when we are talking about dreaming big or dreaming in the first place. Why is it important to dream? Why is it important to dream or dream big? एंड व्हेन आई लुक बैक टुवर्ड्स माय ओन लाइफ, जब मैं अपनी जिंदगी की तरफ वापस नजर मोड़ देता हूँ, वापस देख लेता हूँ, एक लड़का, एक कश्मीर के एक अनंतनाग डिस्ट्रिक्ट के एक छोटे से गांव में एक छोटा सा बच्चा रहता है. देन ही ग्रोज अप और इनिशियली एक पास के स्कूल में जाता है, फिर दूसरे स्कूल में जाता है, फाइनली गोज टू कॉलेज एंड देन फाइनली लैंड्स अप हियर इन द इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस. And if there's one thing, that connects my whole story, it has been that of dreams. While I was there in my school, while I was there in my village, I'll always wonder, would I be able to move out of this village? Will I be able to do something better or something bigger than the people who around me were doing? So it is that story of dreaming which which has helped me a lot in my life. So when we talk about dreaming or dreaming big, so to understand why is it important, I was just before this speech, before this lecture, I was sitting down and trying to note down points. What happens when we dream, or what happens when we don't dream? And they say that, Walt Disney used to say it, that if you can dream it, you can do it. अगर आप सपना देख सकते हैं तो आप उस सपने को साकार कर सकते हैं. और जिमिनी क्रिकेट का भी एक बहुत अच्छा कोट है, आई हैव पुट इट हियर, दैट इफ यू डोंट हैव अ ड्रीम, हाउ कैन यू हैव अ ड्रीम कम ट्रू? जब आपका सपना ही नहीं होगा तो आप एक सपने को साकार कैसे कर सकते हो? तो जिंदगी में अगर हमें कोई भी सपना साकार करना है तो उसके लिए ये बहुत जरूरी है कि हम सबसे पहले वो सपना देखना सीखें. सो जब हम जो भी कुछ करना चाहते हैं लाइफ में, दिस ड्रीम, इट बिकम्स द स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट. ये जो भी हम आगे करना चाहते हैं, it becomes the starting point. It's the starting point where what we visualize, that what we want to do, what kind of life we want to have, what kind of contribution we want to have in society. That's from where our story begins, our journey begins. So dreaming is about the journey. मेरे ख्याल से अगर आईएएस में ज्वाइन करना है, यूपीएससी एग्जाम लिखना है किसी को, या किसी और फील्ड में, इट्स नॉट कन्फाइंड टू वन पर्टिकुलर फील्ड, इट्स फॉर एनी फील्ड. चाहे हम कोई जर्नलिज्म में बहुत अच्छा करना चाहता है, चाहे कोई एक बहुत अच्छा राइटर बनना चाहता है, चाहे कोई एक बड़ा सोशल एक्टिविस्ट बनना चाहता है, चाहे कोई एक बड़ा पॉलिटिशियन, बहुत अच्छा पॉलिटिशियन बनना चाहता है, उस बनने की प्रक्रिया में सबसे पहली चीज, द फर्स्ट थिंग in that whole process is to dream about it. And this dreaming, it opens up our potential, it opens up our mind that this is possible. हमारे यहाँ, in my place, around in the place where I live, we did not have any civil servants or any IS officers to look up to. Very few were there from my state. So joining IAS or joining civil services in the first place was about dreaming about it. That yes, I can also do it. So when we dream about it, it helps us open our limits. It helps us, move up the boundaries that we have put in on ourselves. We get a sense of direction. We get a sense of purpose. That this is what I want to do. This is what I visualize after 5 years, after 10 years. This is my dream. I want. This is the kind of life I want to build for myself or the people around me, and that this thing gives direction to us, and we start working for that dream. I see a lot of people, some are saying that there's a bit of voice lag. I'm really sorry, because I'm right now in a place where internet connection is not that well. I'm using the my mobile phone as a source of internet. So please bear with me if there's a bit of voice lag, or if some video or the slides are not clear. But I'll still try. I'll still try to repeat things, and make it slightly useful for you. At the same time, when coming back to the whole idea of having dreams, you know, uh, I was reading it somewhere. Uh, there was this person. Her name is Mel Robbins, and I was watching her TED talk, and she said that the odds of a person being born at a moment of time when he or she was born, to the parents to whom he or she was born, with the set of genes or the set of DNA that he or she is born, is 1 is to 400 trillion. So our birth itself is such a least probable uh, event. So the probability, the odds with which, with the circumstances, or uh, with the parents, with the time, and with the kind of DNA that we were born, is around 1 is to 400 trillion. And that makes all of us special. That makes all of us unique in its own way. So if we are so special, then I think all of us deserve to dream. All of us deserve to, fantasize the kind of world, fantasize the kind of life that we want to be in. So, my first point, the first thing that I wanted to make here was that it's very important to dream, because number one, these dreams give a direction to us. They open our horizon, they open our mental space, they open us up, they open us up to the possibilities. We realize that nothing is impossible. अगर कश्मीर के एक अनंतनाग डिस्ट्रिक्ट के एक गांव से एक लड़का कर सकता है, if he can become an IAS, anybody else can become as well. But for that, we need to have that dream, so that that fire in us is ignited. So then the next part of this whole conversation comes, that all of us want to dream. All of us have this thing in mind that, we want to dream. We want to do something. We want to imagine ourselves doing something good, something bigger, something better. But what stops us? What stops us from doing this? What stops us from dreaming big? And I think, as far as I have seen in interactions with people, if with interaction with interactions with my friends or relatives, or those with whom we come in touch with every day, the biggest roadblock, the biggest thing that prevents us from dreaming or dreaming big, is fear of failure. We are often scared that, okay, if I say that my dream is to become a say millionaire, or my dream is to build a Fortune 500 company, whether I'll be able to do it. What if I fail? What if I'm not able to do this? Same goes with, a lot of us who have been preparing for civil services, for the UPSC civil service examination. We also wonder, what if What if I'm not able to clear? What if I fail in preliminary examination? What if I'm not able to go through the main examination? What if I'm rejected in the interview? What will happen? What will happen? So that fear of failure is one big hurdle that does not let us dream. That makes us, that forces us to settle down with smaller dreams. And I think this is the first thing that we all need to work upon. That we need to get rid of this fear of failure. When I was in the school, I heard this line, this stanza, एक उर्दू का शेर है, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है. It says, गिरते हैं शहसवार, गिरते हैं शहसवार मैदान कारजार में, वो तिफल क्या गिरे जो घुटनों के बल चले. I'll translate it. It means that it's the warriors who are fighting in the battlefield. It's they who fall. A person who is sitting in the comfort of his house, he cannot fall. So failure, only those people who dare to do something, only they will face failure. Somebody who does not dare, who does not dare to dream, who does not dare to do anything, he'll never face failure in life because he's not subjected to it. This is not a possibility for him. But when you dream, when we imagine that us doing so many great things, so many wonderful things, we know that failing and failure is a part of it. हम लोग फेल होंगे, बार बार होंगे, कई बार होंगे. ये उस जर्नी का पार्ट है. It's a part of that journey. And it's in fact these small or even big failures that make our dreams worth living for. And if there's a dream for which we don't face a failure, we don't face a challenge, I don't think that dream would be a dream big enough. So it's very important that we overcome this fear of failure. I remember, I just want to relate it to my own life story as well. When we were in class 11th and 12th, at that time in my place in Kashmir, IIT was not that popular thing. Very few people would write examination. And I had 3-4 friends and classmates with me. So we all decided that we'll write the exam. So we all filled the form, filled the application form. And when the day of the examination came, I think none of them turned up at the examination center. I went, and they said, in any case, we won't be qualifying it. We won't be able to go through. So why to write the examination in the first place? But I thought, it doesn't matter if we go through it, if we don't go through it. Let's try. Let's try. And it's that fire to try that helps us achieve those big things. And I was very fortunate enough that I could go through that examination. I could qualify that examination. Similarly, right now I'm in Rajasthan, and I think every now and then, a lot of students, they come to my office, or they come to meet. Some of them are aspirants, and they would say, we are preparing for Rajasthan Administrative Service Examination, RPSC exam, the state service exam. And the first question I would always ask them is, why are you not writing the UPSC civil service exam? And then there would be a moment of silence, and they would say, sir, pata nahi, there's too much of competition. We don't know whether we'll be able to through it or not. We'll be able to clear it or not. And the first thing I try to do is I tell them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you clear it or not. First of all, you have to try. You have to try. So before settling down for anything like a state service examination or other exam, which I'm not saying are bad enough, they're equally important, very important. I mean, why not to try for the UPSC civil service examination? First of all, try for that as well. Let's see. Let's work hard for that. And if it doesn't, if we are not able to make through it, that's fine. Then let's look at other options. So let's not let our fear of failures are real. They happen, and that they're a part of life. They're a part of journey. One should be positive. One should be open to them. One should be open to those failures, and should not let our failures make us settle down for those dreams, settle down for smaller dreams. And Then there's another part of this whole story is the social conditioning. I think many of you will be able to relate to it. Social conditioning, we mean what people have been telling us. Say we grow up, say there would be a relative, he'll say, no, this is too difficult exam, this is too difficult a journey. You can't, it's not easy to build a company, it's not easy to secure funding for your startup. So what are you doing? Go and settle for some stable job. So these kind of social conditioning sometimes is the pressure of the parents who also would want, no, this is आपने एक attempt दिया है, दो attempt दिया है, अब नहीं देना है, अब कोई job कर ले. So a lot of these things, this social conditioning also adds up to this thing that prevents us from dreaming big. And I think then there is the most important of them all, which I have put here as limits we think there are. I'll just highlight it. This is this. These are the limits which we have put on our own minds. जैसे एक घोड़ा चलता है, टांगे का घोड़ा होता है जो उसके दोनों साइड से एक there are two pieces of some cloth or some leather on the two sides of his eyes, and he stays just on the road. He's not able to look left or right. So the same kind of limits are which we often try to impose our own selves. कि पता नहीं होगा, मेरे से नहीं हो पाएगा, जिनका होता है they are from some other world or whatever. So one has to work on these limits also. One has to have built that self belief that if somebody else can do it, I can also do it. Maybe it will take me more effort, it will take I'll have to work more hard, I'll have to put in more of effort, I'll do that. But let me not confine myself, let me not limit myself, let me not limit the possibilities of my life. Let me go ahead. And there is this Malcolm Forbes. Malcolm Forbes is the person. He's also the producer of the Forbes magazine. His father was the one who had found the magazine. It's a Forbes we all know about. So he says this, that when you cease to dream, you cease to live. So in a way, dreaming is something that makes us alive, that makes us lively, and it's also something that makes us that differentiates us from probably other species. Somebody wrote about this book. I just happened to look at it uh, in the comment section about Malcolm Gladwell's book. There is this book by Malcolm Gladwell called David and Goliath. I just saw the name somewhere. I have read this book, and it's a really very interesting example of how underdogs, how those people who are often seen as the ones who can never survive, ones who can never accomplish anything, they turn out to be victorious in situations. It's about David and Goliath. It's a biblical story of David and Goliath. So Goliath was a huge, giant-looking warrior. This David was a small Israeli. He was a small boy. He was a shepherd boy. And then in that one-to-one kind of combat that happened, David thrashes Goliath down. Now, the story of how it happened, that is explained in the book, that when those things which we consider as disadvantages, they're often not disadvantages, they're often advantages. So one needs to look at things from that perspective as well. Now, let's go to the third side of this presentation. So we have been talking about dreams. We have been talking about things that prevent us from dreaming in general. Now, can we relate it a little bit with UPSC? I'm sure there would be other speakers from different fields, and they would also equally passionately talk about dreaming big when it comes to their own fields of interest, when it comes to their own professions. Now, when we talk about UPSC, the first question itself is, does aspiring for UPSC mean dreaming big? Is it a dream big enough? The answer, I think, is for some it is, for some it may not be. For me personally, it was a big dream. I, as I told you, I remember the days when I would come back from my school was initially about 1.5 kilometers away from my village. So when I would come back from my village, from my school in the evening after the school, while walking along the road, I'll start kicking the pebbles with my foot. If there's anything lying on the road, I'll start kicking it and moving ahead. But while I was walking back to my house every day, I remember it so vividly. I keep on imagining, what am I going to do now? Where would I be after my class 11? What's going to happen? And this thing would really fascinate me. The kind of possibilities I had. I had seen a doctor, so I wanted to become a doctor. Somebody told me somebody was an engineer. Then I thought that maybe I can become an engineer. Then the same story goes on. When I went to college, I was in IIT Mandi. So that was one of my dreams, to join an IIT. So after 11th and 12th, so I was fortunate enough to join one. And while I was there, I again started. This dream was still, what next? What possibly could I do? What possibly could I do? Maybe go for a startup, maybe go for higher studies in US, somewhere else. And then all of a sudden, I started to look at UPSC as an option. I started to look at civil services as an option. So because back home, from the place we come, it impacts our life a lot. Our experiences impact our life a lot. So I would often wonder, so what if I join civil services? Will I be able to contribute better? Will I be able to satisfy my own curiosity? Will I be able to satisfy my own dreams? Will I be able to uh, something good for the society? And then in the last semester, I finally narrowed down that this is what I want to do. I want to join civil services. And now I have been in the service for almost 3 years, and these 3 years have I this is with utmost honesty, I'm trying to say that every day has made me realize that this was a dream worth living for. This was a dream worth fighting for. This was a dream worth putting, every bit of an effort for. Now, these days, this is the time. This has been we are going through a difficult time. All of us. We have seen the kind of challenge the world has faced in terms of COVID-19 crisis. And when we were out there, trying to do our bit, and every day felt so worthwhile. Every day felt so amazing that we are doing something that's helping us. We are doing something that's helping the people around. And it's that thing, which I believe that if I get another life, if I get another opportunity to do something else, I would not settle for anything else. I'll join civil services again. I'll try for it again. So it's as they say, dream is only a of course it's only a starting point. It's a starting point of the journey. The journey goes on, and it's the kind of effort, it's the kind of dedication, it's the kind of hard work you put in that makes this dream come true. So while yes, the first part, the dreaming is important, to have a big dream is important, that's important. But the second part of the story is we have to make sure that we work hard. We don't wait for others to do things for us. We do things ourselves. We work for our dream. And somebody has rightly said, if there's a dream, and it shouldn't let you sleep. सपने ऐसे देखने हैं कि वो नींद हमें नींद नहीं आए, सपने हमारी नींद उड़ा देने चाहिए, ऐसे इस तरह से इस पैशन के साथ अपने सपने देखें. और मेरे ख्याल से जिन लोगों ने भी दुनिया में बहुत अच्छा काम किया है, उन्होंने भी बहुत बड़े बड़े सपने देखे. चाहे हम इफ यू लुक एट पीपल लाइक स्टीव जॉब्स, इफ यू लुक एट पीपल लाइक बिल गेट्स, इफ यू लाइक जेफ बेजोस, if we look at people like Chittian Session, if we look at people like Sridharan sir, if we look at other people who have done so wonderful while we're all alive, if those people have been dreamers, उन्होंने सपने देखे हैं, उन सपनों को साकार किया है. And to fulfill our dreams, it's very important that we put all our effort, we put all our heart, we put all our passion into filling those dreams, into fulfilling those dreams. उन सपनों को साकार करने के लिए बहुत मेहनत, बहुत जद्दोजहद और बहुत हिम्मत रखनी है. So coming back to the coming back to the idea of UPSC and dreams, I'll just add a few things to it again. One is, what makes UPSC civil, or what makes civil services unique, especially in context of country like India. In a country which is in a developing stage, the role of government, the role of public services, the role of public servants is extremely important. In a country like India, it is this government whose role as a catalyst is the role of these civil servants as a catalyst, which makes it so interesting, which makes it so important. So what does a catalyst do? I love to put it this way. In chemistry we used to read about there is a lot of reactants which react to form catalysts, to which react to form reactants, and then there's a catalyst which helps to accelerate those chemical reactions. The similar is a role of a civil servant. Similar is a role of a civil servant. That role is to improve efficiency in the system. That role is to ensure that the kind of environment is there in which other sectors of economy, other sectors of our social circumstances, they improve. One may not be a doctor, one may not be a teacher, but he has that capacity, he has that to ensure that uh, schools, to ensure that our education, our health system is working better. Similarly, when we work in the field, we often realize that in our country there's still huge dependence of people on government and on government programs and on government schemes, and the success of all those programs entirely depends on the kind of the way they are implemented, and it's the civil servants who are enshrined, who have been given this responsibility of efficiently implementing those schemes. So if in a system, in a setup, in a country, the civil services, they work well, they work better, the country as a whole progresses a lot. So that's the little crux of it. And for me personally, being in the service has been really an enriching experience. It has changed my life, both in the way I imagine things now, in the way look at things now, as well as in terms of what I'm able to do. And besides this is also a fact that in our country, when somebody is in the service, he's an IAS or in the state services, the response of the people towards him also changes, and you see it in the workplace every day. When people come to us, they put a lot of faith, they put a lot of love, they give a lot of respect, and it's that sense of respect and that sense of love which we get from people that also makes UPSC civil services or civil services in general something to dream about, something to fulfill about. So while I think we are in the last minute of this conversation, I would quickly maybe end it this way, that it's indeed very important that to dream. We all should dream. We all should dream big. We should not put any limits to our dreams. We should try hard. We should try hard to make sure that our imagination opens up, our possibilities open up, and then work very hard, work even harder to fulfill those dreams. And I must tell you, when even a single dream comes true, it's a great place to be. It's an amazing place to be. It's something to really live for. And I wish all of you, wish you a lot of great dreams, wish you a lot of love, wish you a lot of success, wish you a lot of happiness in life. I wish that all of you become change agents in your own ways. I wish all of you were able to dream big and then fulfill those dreams for all of us and for yourself as well. And just remember one thing, that the life is very small, life is very short. We don't know, we are living today, where we'll be tomorrow, where will be day after. Let's make this every day of this life count. Let's make every second of this life count. Let's build castles of dreams and then turn them into reality as well. Thank you so much, and my best wishes to all of you. Thank you so much.